It is really nice to hear this record again. I haven't heard this record in, I can't even remember the last time I heard this record. It was before the second millennium, that's for sure. Might have been over 30 years since I heard this record. It just I remember the hook. Be good, be good. It's just I'm so glad I put a Lost 45 a Man at Work on this fancy playlist. Be good, Johnny. At number 20, I messed up. See how I scribbled over it really bad, is at number 28. Actually, I think I peaked it at number 28. It was not released as a single, not a physical single, not a 45. They were still making those 45s back in the early 80s. Of course, the CDs were coming into play, and of course, you got your cassettes too. You can buy albums in a cassette form back then. And Be Good Johnny, this sounds like The Who. I mean, I listen to this record on YouTube. I hear this keyboard thing, duh, 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 and it's The Who. It's Yes, and The Who. You hear that progressive sound, and Colin Hay, the lead singer, sounds a little bit like Pete Townsend as he does all these different vocal inflections. I'll talk about that in just a minute. Man at Work, they go back. They formed in 1979 in Australia, and oh, now I'm jumping ahead of myself. Well, here's the deal. One of the first hit records they came out with was Down Under. That came out in 1980. Down Under in 1980 in Australia. Down Under was the B-side to Key Punch Operator. That was before they got their contract with Columbia Records. It was a local thing. And then they had Who Can It Be Now? Summer of 1981, released in Australia. Went to number 2 in Australia. That song was on the Australian charts for 24 weeks. And Man at Work, they started to take off in North America. It started in Canada first, according to the research. And they toured with Fleetwood Mac, and they migrated down here in the States. And Who Can It Be Now in the summer of 1982 just exploded. They were just one of these cool new wave bands, definitely with those pop influences coming into play. And Who Can It Be Now was a massive hit. And fall into the spring of 1983, they were just flooding the top 40, the FMCHR stations with one hit after another. After Who Can It Be Now, Down Under was re-released here in the States. Well, originally a song up in Australia in 1980, released here in the States in late 1982, went top 10. And the song had just barely just peaked when Overkill came out. And that was another massive hit. You're like thinking, God, is this another kind of like an Australian invasion of some kind? And then It's a Mistake came after that in the spring of 1983, maybe early summer of 1983. Some vivid memories of that song. And then there was what was the name of that song? Dr. Heckle and Mr. Jive in the summer of 1983. But Be Good Johnny, Cargo was their second album. That was the one with Overkill and It's a Mistake. But Be Good Johnny was on a previous album, Business as Usual. Try to pronounce it without the southern accent. And the southern accent would be business as usual. Business. But I just having fun with it. Just going crazy with the southern accent. Because I know I sound like a hillbilly at times. All I need to wear is a straw hat or a cowboy hat. I guess I'll look pretty authentic. But anyway, let's see. Going back to Man at Work, I don't even remember what I was talking about. Business as Usual, the album, their first album, Johnny Be Good, came off that first album. Came off that album. And it was played on some of the American radio stations, but not released as a single, as already mentioned. Be Good Johnny is it. Colin Hay was brilliant on this record. This is about a 9-year-old boy. This song is done from a perspective from a 9-year-old boy, perspective from his teachers, perspective from his parents. And his parents are saying, and the adults are saying, just be good, Johnny. And Johnny doesn't want to be good. He wants to daydream. He doesn't want to play sports. He doesn't want to concentrate. And the adults don't understand him. And Colin Hay, he imitates the persona of Johnny, the persona of his teacher, the persona of his parents with his voice. God, it's brilliant. I mean, I tell you, if I didn't know this was a Man at Work record, I mean, if I heard it on the radio and never heard of this record, never heard who did it, I'd say this song's done by the Who. Early 80s, late 70s, early 80s Who. Maybe 70s Who. Anyway, oh, the spoken part done by Greg Ham, keyboard player. Man at Work. Be Good Johnny at number 28 on my fancy playlist, March 18th, 1983.